3, 2, 1, go.
Hello, hello. This is Ignacy from Portal Games.
And this is the Podfather of Gaming, Stephen Bonacor. You are listening to Board Games Insider, episode 247, and we're recording this on the beautiful day of September 7th, 2022. Board Games Insider is a proud member of the Dice Tower Network, and I count down the days until I will see Tom Vasel 19 out of the next 29 days, starting next week at Dice Tower Retreat, into the World Series of Board Gaming in Vegas, and finally through the first week in October in Essen. I may have to kill myself.
No, you have a huge experience of experiencing Tom in your life, so you will survive a few more days.
Well, who's going to survive it? Maybe this is like only one can survive.
I wonder if there are any our listeners, and I guess considering the number of listeners we have, there must be few people who have no clue who Tom Vasel is, and they wonder every week. They wonder what this person is. No, statistically, not every board gamer on the planet watches the Dice Tower. Let's face it, it is a very popular channel, but somebody might not discover it on YouTube, or maybe doesn't use YouTube, and therefore they have no clue.
If they know us, they have to know Tom.
No, they could find us on Spotify, for instance. I guess, hey, dear listener, if you are one of those people who have no clue who Tom Vasel is, let us know on the guild, and maybe you will even win the prize, because this will be super amazing.
Please, I beg of you, somebody to say, who is this guy Tom Vasel that you constantly talk about? That would be hysterical. I will copy, paste, post that on Facebook. Oh my God, that'll look so great. Please tell us if you're that one person out there.
We will start a thread for you on our guild, and let us know.
We'll make you famous. Ignacy, please tell us all about what's happening at Portal Games.
Portal Games Digital updated the Neuroshima Hex app. Our listeners already know the app because it's one of the best apps in the App Store and Google Play. It is a tactical game, strategy game. You're commanding different armies, and every couple of months we are adding new armies to give you more replayability, new abilities, new features. And this weekend, our team added a brand new army called the Beast. This is the army that was released in the paper format as a regular release, as a cardboard, as a board game last year in Essen, and now a year after we are providing it as a digital form in Neuroshima Hex app. So please, if you have this app, if you have Neuroshima Hex app, start it, play again, check for the updates, and check this brand new, very interesting army. Just short note, because I know that many of our listeners doesn't know the rules, but the funny thing about the beasts, that are the monsters, they're attacking, they have the friendly fire because they don't listen to the order. They're just frenzied and they want to attack. So this is a very interesting army when you play this game, that you have to consider the fact that your units will attack your own units if you don't place them very, very smart. It adds a lot of strategy, a lot of a very new way to thinking about your army, very powerful units, but they're attacking each other. So go to Neuroshima Hex app. If you don't have this app yet, you must have it. It's amazing. It's one of the best apps, as I said, in the App Store. And if you already have it, download the Beast army. For the pre-orders and street dates, Operation Essen, as every single week we mentioned Basilica, 11, Wrath of the Lighthouse, and Neuroshima Hex Pirates. So if today's news segment is about Neuroshima Hex, let me talk once again about the brand new army that is called Pirates. This is the brand new army to the Neuroshima Hex board game. Neuroshima Hex board game released in Poland in 2005, in English in 2007. This is so many years ago that I don't even know how many, like 12 or I don't know, many years ago. The game is still being bestseller in Poland, still has a loyal fan base in America and in Europe. Every single year at Essen we are releasing brand new army. This year it's a Pirates. It's a phenomenal army. I was doing demos when I was traveling around the US. I was presenting prototype of this army. So if you are Neuroshima Hex fans, this month, September, new army in the app, and at the beginning of the October, new army on your table, Neuroshima Hex Pirates and Neuroshima Hex Beasts. I know that this game has a very loyal fan base. I appreciate you. I respect you. I'm so happy to see every year at Essen at our booth. Those people who come, they just point, they just point at the shops and I want the new army. They buy the new army and they go away, because every year they just come to Essen just to buy this new army, and they have this big collection. So this is what's happening. You can go to portalgamesus.com. We have full information about all our Essen releases. We have full information about all the promos we have for these products. Check them out and secure your copy. It helps us prepare for the Essen. Last week I mentioned, and Stephen was putting some more detail about it, how difficult it is for the publisher to know how many copies of the product the publisher needs to bring to the convention. So if you pre-order the game, not only you are securing the copy for you, but you are giving us knowledge how many copies we should bring. So I appreciate all of you who pre-order the games before the show. portalgamesus.com. Pick one of these 4 products or all of them and make Ignacy smile. And this is news from Portal Games. As I say every week for the past few weeks, Essen for the whole team and for the Ignacy volleyball. So if Steven is asking, and I see that he's nodding that he's very interested, yes, we will face USA again. So we played against a USA last week. It was a group stage of the volleyball World Cup. We beat you 3-1, but Poland and USA were moving from the group to the next stage, the playoffs, and we will meet in the quarterfinals this Thursday. I will be at the stadium. I will be doing photos and videos. So I heard there is no matches shown in American TV because nobody cares about volleyball. Please follow me on Twitter and I will give you a live stream what's happening and how Poland is kicking USA team this Thursday. On a serious note, I'm having great moments of my life. It is a blast, as you can imagine, for the fun of this particular sport. Having a World Cup in your city is a dream come true. So I'm being on the stadium every other day, Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, watching these matches and having a blast. So good time for Ignacy and my wife Mary, because we are going to the matches together. How's your life, sir?
Well, that sounds like a lot of fun. And if it was televised on some channel, I would absolutely watch it, because that would be fun to then mock you or get mocked by you. But as you said, nobody cares about this. So you know how I know that nobody cares about this? I'm going to do something right now that will prove that nobody cares about that in the US, because Alexa knows everything. Wait.
I don't have all the answers,
but
I'm always learning.
Alexa, tell me about Poland versus USA volleyball.
Here's something I found on the web.
Wait.
According to volleycountry.com, USA beat Poland 3-0, 25-17, 25-16, 25-20. Did that answer your question?
No, that's not true, Alexa. Poland won 3-1.
For your feedback.
See, she doesn't care either. She just got the results from like 5 years ago.
He's making you Americans happy, providing you a fake news. I heard about the fake news in America. Mr. T was right.
Did it come from Fox News? Did it come from CNN? So even she, I won't mention her name again because she'll start talking again, doesn't care about your volleyball. That was great. Fake news from Alexa. No, she didn't hear me. Okay, so what's going on in the Podfather's life? So the first thing we open up with again, because there's still a couple of weeks left, Podfather, the cruise in January of 2023. Come on, check it out. Just check it out. Maybe something says like, wow, I really should talk to my spouse about this. Come over to Podfather of Gaming, the group on Facebook. You can also go to tabletop.events. That's where you actually sign up and you just search in the January timeframe and you'll find us. We're right there in January. We're going 8 nights to South America, Curacao, Aruba. It's gonna be an amazing time. And of course, it is for charity. I'm paying for my own cabin. Every bit of the extra money is going over to charity. So please come and check it out. It's just going to be a fun time, and we're especially looking to enhance the social aspects of cruising with a group. We'll game, but we're going to enhance the social aspects. We'll go out to the pubs together. We'll go to the shows together. We'll go on the jacuzzis together. We'll just have a great time. So come on, check out Podfather, the cruise, January 2023. Let your spouses and other significant others know. They'll want to go, I promise. Besides that, as many people know, the Artemis 1 launch again failed to launch. They did a scrub on launch. Again, similar issue that they detected. One of the issues, a hydrogen leak. Obviously, a bad thing. Hydrogen, very volatile. That's your fuel. So they could not launch. So now they're diagnosing the most likely next attempt, because there were some attempts where I was going to be away. And I'm like, well, I guess I can't say it. The next most likely attempt is probably October, mid to late October. And I will be in town. So I will be there. I will cover it. It is a very exciting thing for me. I've been into space exploration and astronomy and all of this since I was a child. So this is a very exciting thing. And I think it's exciting for all of mankind, all of human beings, because we're doing something, again, something new, though, that we've never done, going to the moon to stay, to utilize the resources and things like that for potential of getting ourselves to Mars. Past weekend, I was in Key West, Florida, for the Labor Day weekend with my friends, the Phelpses, and some other couples. It was really fun. I recommend Key West or the Florida Keys in general as a destination for any vacationer out there. Key West is a little crazier, maybe too crazy. It's not really crazy, but lots of bars and stuff like that. We did a little bit of that, great restaurants, but we did a lot of sightseeing there. The Ernest Hemingway house, he's like the most famous ex-native of Key West, and he was famous for being one of the greatest American authors of all time, but also for his 6-toed cats. So on the property, Ignacy's face, he's making a face right now. Yes, so all of the cats, not all, because it's a recessive gene, most of the cats on the premises have 6 claws on each paw. It's a recessive trait. It's a mutation that they then bred for these cats. And they're all over the place. And they're so cute with these big fat paws because they've got this extra toe hanging out. It's really interesting. There's 59 cats on the estate. It's like an acre. And it's very interesting to see them and watch them. And they don't play by the rules. They're sitting on the furniture. They're not allowed to, and things like that. Ignacy, what do you want to say?
I wanted to point out to our listeners, because we haven't won a Golden Geek Award, I want them, our listeners, to appreciate how we are adding more value to the show this year by talking about the volleyball or about talking about the cats. We are trying to improve this podcast with all this unnecessary knowledge for you. So I hope this year we will win with this updates to our show.
That's right, to the best board game podcast of the year. But we give you insight into the world and where you can vacation. At least that's what I tell you, or where you can watch bad sports. That's what Ignacy tells you. Things like that. So you got to keep up with us. It's very important.
Thank you for trying hard.
Thank you for that interjection there, Ignacy. So next week, as I mentioned at the top of the show, by the time you hear this, in fact, I will be at the Dice Tower Retreat with Tom and about 200 people. Dice Tower Retreat is a mini convention. It's like 200 people. They bring the entire or almost the entire Dice Tower library. So there's thousands of games there to take. It's a great social atmosphere too, because, right, so, it's not like a convention where there's all these other distractions. It's always at a kind of a nice hotel or resort type hotel. And then you have the restaurants and the bars and the great gaming, and it's a lot of fun. So I look forward to the Dice Tower Retreat every year. It happens at this time of year. I can't wait for that. Right after that, 2 weeks after that, I hit the World Series of Board Gaming. Tom, again, will be there with me. The World Series of Board Gaming in Vegas. Ticket sales are gone by now, but you go check it out because it's an amazing event. WSBGVegas.com, $40,000 in prizes, and someone will be crowned the world champion of board gaming and win $25,000. Roll directly from there. I fly directly with 3 flights to Essen, hang out with Ignacy, and and can't wait to see everybody. That's just going to be fun. Haven't been to Essen since 2019 now, so that's just going to be a great event. And of course, from there, BGG kind of packs you for the rest of the year. Ignacy, we do have to pick a time, a day and time. I think we kind of implied it at the end of the last show that we'll pick Saturday, but maybe you can talk to your team to pick a good, let's take a 1 hour period, I guess, on Saturday. That you and I just kind of sit at a table and talk to people, sign things. And I'm thinking about getting some coasters, and I'll sign coasters. That's my thing, right? Giving out coasters to people. So maybe you can, should I send you a note on that, or will you take that and make sure you do it?
I will do it, and sending me a note will not hurt.
Okay, I'm writing down Essen meetup. Ignacy, better make the plans.
You are going
Saturday.
to send it by mail, like email, or like regular mail? Because I saw that it is a paper note.
FedEx. I'm gonna, DHL is gonna hand it to you in your office. I will send you an email. I'll copy Gregor. How's that? Gregorish. How's that? Is he the man? I don't know, but I'll copy some people in the. Okay, he is perfect. All right, everybody. Enough silliness. To the event deck. And so the first thing, we have a very light news week, and Ignacy found, though, a couple of important things. The first one is arguably in the top several of the major gaming awards.
Top several. That's interesting.
Well, I mean, it's not the most important award. This is we're talking about the Deutsches Spielpreis. So that translates to German Game Award, right? German
Correct.
Game Prizing, German Game Award. So they focus on gamers' games more than.
But very important. This is a people's choice. So they are.
Oh,
this is like. So there's a
good.
Spiel des Jahres. There's a jury, very notable, and then there's a Deutsche Spielpreis. That is all the people on the internet are voting. So this is like a golden geek of Germany, I would say.
That's a very, very good thing, and I had forgotten that. Thank you very much for pointing that out, and thank you very much for sending me the link in German, because my
Wir
German is...
gratulieren allen Verlagen und Autoren ganz herrlich.
That's amazing. Gesundheit. What? So, if you'd like to translate some of this, please do. Otherwise, I will just read the list of the winners.
Why care for anything less than the winners? Ark Nova, baby. Everybody's voting Ark
Yes.
Nova. Ark Nova is just stepping higher and higher on Board Game Geek rating. I remember that when I was in States, or just before I was coming to States, so it's like a few months ago, it stepped into the top 10. Now it is like a 5th, like it's marching upwards on the ranking like crazy. Congratulations, great game, and most likely is going to win all the awards in upcoming year because it is so hot and so good game.
Yeah, that really will take the top prize, like in almost everybody's award. So Ark number 1, Cascadia number 2. That was my number 1 game of last year when I made my votes on the games that I had played, and that came out last year. Dune Imperium is number 3. Living Forest from Pegasus Spiele 4.
Red Cathedral.
What is it?
Red Cathedral.
Red Cathedral. Okay. Then Witchstone. I love that one. Also on my top games from last year. Beyond the Sun. Scout. Also on my top games from last year. And Terraforming Mars. Ares Expedition. Good to see love for the latest incarnation of Terraforming Mars. So I like the fact that this is a kind of a people's choice, though that does do, of course, the very much a popularity contest where it's not as objective, it's more subjective, which is fine. I mean, people love what they love. Hopefully they'll give us love at the Golden Geek Awards next year, of course, right? Right.
What can I say?
So our second piece of news and last piece of news is that the Essen Spiel 2022 has come out with their COVID protocols. They have made masks mandatory, but not COVID-19 vaccinations. Interesting. So visitors to this year's Spiel Essen tabletop gaming convention will be required to wear masks, but will not need proof of vaccination against COVID-19. Announced via a newsletter for the upcoming event, it has been confirmed that guests going to Essen Spiel 2022, the largest tabletop gaming convention happening this year, will need to wear a medical-grade protective face mask over their nose and mouth. The restrictions will be in place in response to the continued COVID-19 pandemic, with all indoor areas of the convention requiring all visitors, besides children under the age of 6, to wear a mask. However, visitors to Essen Spiel 2022 will not need to provide proof that they have been vaccinated. So, Ignacy, you and I talked a little bit before the show about this, and I mean, I don't know. We've talked so much about COVID protocols and things. I'm gonna say that they have it wrong. They have it backwards, really. I mean, if you think about it, do masks? What prevents COVID more? A mask or a vaccination? If we all had gotten vaccinated, there'd be no more COVID, or very, very, very little of it. There'd be no more freaking mutations of the damn virus. So this is disappointing. It should be vaccinations. And if you want to wear a mask, you wear a mask. Okay, I'm not going to shame anybody. But masks are burdensome. I'm vaccinated. I've got 4 vaccines in me. They just announced the Omicron specific booster. I'm going to be getting that as soon as I can. I'm going to get it. So I was a little disappointed. It's hot and sweaty in the place to begin with. This is not going to make it easy. I'm going to be taking a lot of breaks outside, I have a feeling. So, Ignacy, any other comments?
Yes, it is difficult once again. We understand on one hand, we support that we want everyone to be safe.
Mm-hmm.
From my perspective as a publisher, it is very difficult to run demos when your volunteers, when your team is wearing a mask, especially during the show like Essen. Let me point out the one very important thing. At the Gen Con or at any Polish convention, we are talking to native speakers in native language, either in Poland in Polish or in America in English. In Essen, you are talking in English, which is not native language of us and our volunteers, to people from France, Italy, Spain, etc., etc. So even in the regular years, it is always quite difficult to understand everything because explaining a game in not native language is difficult. With these masks, it is difficult. It is really quite a challenge for all the volunteers to speak with somebody else in a language that both of you don't exactly know very well.
Right.
So yes, we want to support Essen. We know that they are doing it to make something good, to protect people, to protect attendees, but for sure it will be very difficult for the attendees and for the volunteers to enjoy playing games. Right.
And it's another interesting point is that, like, on Thursday, right? So the conventions normally are on Thursday. Sometimes a little stuff going on Wednesday, Thursday to Sunday. On Thursday at Origins, on Thursday at Gen Con, my voice was already shot. Because when you have a mask, I'm projecting, I'm talking so much. I was interviewing people, things like that, talking so much, so extra loudly that my voice was hurt by the end of the day. So, I mean, that's a real bother. That's not good. But listen, in the end, the thing I say about this all the time, we are gamers. The one thing, the thing that we do more than anything is do things by the rules. The Germans really like rules. We do things by the rules. So the rules of the convention are you wear a mask. I'm happy to wear a mask. I mean, I will wear the mask.
You're not happy.
Happily not as happy, but I will wear it and I will do the rules in every way possible. Because that's important.
We must mention, because this is what we do, that indeed during the summer conventions in America, like the Dice Tower or then the cruise, there was a lot of people who got COVID during these conventions. So yes, when there is so many people in one place playing games, sitting in the next table next to each other, and the COVID spreads. As Steven said before, if we all have vaccines, it will be much safer and much slower. It is not the case, so it's spreading.
Yep, exactly. So I will see everybody in Essen with a mask on. Sounds good. In the meantime, strategy and tactics. Our first question is from Tim Harema, who is divine_justice. And he says, hi, guys, been listening since the beginning. Thanks for keeping up a quality podcast for so many years, both fun and informative. Congratulations on more than 200 episodes. His questions. Do you think learn to play videos should be the responsibility of the publisher. Will rule books eventually be replaced by such videos? Intriguing, Ignacy. What do you think?
That is a very interesting question. If we can discuss and brainstorm, like when you're buying the iPhone, you don't have a rulebook inside, right? They just assume that you will figure out how to use the device. On the other hand, when you buy a wash machine or whatever you call this big device, you get like 200 pages of all the different programs it has that you will never read. You will just click and see what happens. So yeah, this is the case, right? So in different products, when you buy different products, sometimes we have some boring manuals. Sometimes the producer thinks, oh, they will figure it out. With rules, with the rule books, obviously we need to provide a rule book, so you know how to play the game, and then we discuss the medium. It should be a paper rule book, should be a video, should be like an app. There's so many different ways. I guess that paper is used by the humans by like 2,000 years, 3,000 years, many
like
thousands of years. So we will stick to the paper rule books for a long time. But there's more and more publishers, more and more designers provide a QR code to the video or QR code to the app. But I would not say that it is obligatory for the publisher to create how to play video, because not every publisher has the resources, has the talent, has the ability to do that. So we are obliged to the paper rulebook, and then depending how big the publisher is, they go the extra mile, providing different ways to learn the game.
Yeah, I agree. The learn to play, as Tim mentioned here, is done by external people for the most part, and done very well. I mean, look at Rodney Smith with his watch it played videos. I mean, he's fantastic. However, Rodney charges, it's his living. He charges a good amount of money to do them, and he only does the ones he wants. He's got too much business. So 10 publishers come and I want them to do these games. He selects 2 of those games. For instance, I don't know his numbers, but he is backed up for months and months and months in doing these things. So even if we wanted to do them and have the best guy do them, he's too busy. Do them ourselves? Well, we're not as good as him. So sometimes you find other people to do it at a cost. In general, board gamers, physical. We can play, we play a physical game. We can read the rules. I don't think it certainly is not obligatory for the publisher to create one of these, period. It is a nice thing to do. I think it sells the game, so lots of smart publishers will get on board with getting one of these videos out there, but not the responsibility of the publisher. And I don't think rule books will be replaced by a video. Some of them could be replaced by just going to the QR code and reading it on your phone or your tablet. Think about that. We go to restaurants now, at least in America, right? A lot of the restaurants here, they don't even want to give you a physical menu anymore. You go, they got a QR code on the table, you scan it, and you pick your food on there. I don't mind doing that as long as I can get to it quickly. Same thing with a rule book. I'll do it that way.
Yes, and that's I think it may happen, but it will take some time for us gamers to get used to that, because with such a solution like you mentioned in the restaurants, we can do so-called living rule book. So we can update it, we can make it better with the feedback from the players, with all the edits in the rule book. So over the weeks, over the months, over the years, the rule will be better and better and better, and the customer has always the same QR code, but to the better and better rule book. So
yep,
we will see.
Exactly. Josh Wasser, who's at YouOldCoat, I like it. Given all the uncertainty we've been seeing recently with international freight shipping from a publisher's perspective, what would it take for a North American manufacturer to rise up and get more game production business? Is it too expensive to get the raw materials at a reasonable price here? Maybe it's expertise in creating quality product. Josh, we've covered this often. But it always is an interesting part of the business. The first thing about this is that there are just so many more manufacturers of paper and wood products outside the United States than inside, number one. And for plastics, if we're talking about plastics, we keep saying it, China, It's the only place to go, essentially. They've got 75 years worth of injection molding facilities created all over the country, all over that Shenzhen region, in that area of the manufacturing. It's plastics. They're not coming to the US or really any place in the Western world. They're going to be there. Labor costs are the biggest issue of all. Labor in these countries are just so much lower. So not only can they have all these built out factories that do paper and wood and cardboard, punching, making boxes, all of that, they do it with human beings that are just, I'm making up a number, a tenth of the price of somebody here. It's too hard at the moment for the US to compete. Certainly the international freight crisis has spurred more people to look here for certain components, certain parts, maybe final assembly. Some companies have done final assembly in the US after they got the parts and stuff here. Maybe that'll happen more. Ignacy, anything to add to that?
Yeah, I wanted to give a small, maybe fun and maybe serious update from this Gen Con. But for the first time in the history of my Gen Con appearances, so since 2014, we got visited by the Ludofact USA.
Yep.
So the sales agents are now more actively looking for the partners, looking for the customers. So they see this logistic horror that is happening might be a chance for them to get new customers. But as Steven said, even compared to the whole horror we have with the increase of prices, delays, all these terrible things, still American manufacturer cannot compete with the European manufacturers or Chinese. So it shows you players how big of the difference in the cost of production in China or Europe versus America is. There is a huge gap, and I'm not optimistic. Like if they cannot find a customer in this period of the horrific things with the logistics, if the logistics will be smooth again at some point, hopefully, I cannot see them finding a customer.
Yeah, it's a tough thing. Greg Lauder, who's at Lauder GML, sport-themed games have a reputation that they can never succeed. With Portal Games releasing a new sports-themed game, what's it called? 11. I have wondered how sports-themed games obtain that reputation, and is it true? What will it take for sports games to be accepted by the board game community? So Ignacy, I'm gonna take this a step back. I'm gonna go first, take it a step back. I think that the first thing is that the overlap between gamer and sports enthusiast is so much lower, obviously not with Ignacy, but it's so much lower than, for instance, the overlap between gamer and lover of fantasy, lover of science fiction. So if you see where I'm going here, people who buy board games don't necessarily watch, in the case of 11, soccer matches. People buy board games don't necessarily watch football, American football, baseball, hockey. I think there's just not enough overlap. It's not because they're bad. I think there have been probably some very good sports games and some very interesting tongue-in-cheek sports games like Blood Bowl. Blood Bowl is a great game. It's a fun game. Fantasy, though, right? Fantasy-themed sport. Not real. I think you're basically trying to kill the players. It's kind of interesting. But Ignacy, what else do you want to add to that? It's a great question, but I don't think it's that the games are bad. It's that there's not enough interest, so therefore there's not as many that come out and they're not as evolved as other games.
For a reason that I don't understand, somehow board gamers look at the sport the way we were looked at when we were in teenagers. So we were gamers and everybody else looked at us, oh, they are playing role-playing games, they are stupid. Board gamers are looking at the sports like, oh, this is stupid. Like I'm not this, support of the football. This is just a mess. And I'm really confused. I'm looking right now at the hottest games of this Essen. Number 3 is a game, be with me, participate in the completion of the Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart last piece, the Requiem. That means that this is most interesting because you all board gamers are so much into the Mozart, you are so much into the Requiem that you have to have this game. So for every single stupid, sorry to say that, for every single stupid team for board games, you are fine. You see sport, oh no, I'm not in sports. Like you are in the Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, Red Cathedral #2. So you're into building cathedrals in Moscow. This is your thing. Like you are checking YouTube videos about the cathedrals in Moscow. You have many books about Moscow, that's for sure, right? But sports, no, I'm not into sports. So for some reason, board gamers assume very truly that sports games are very thematic and it turns them off. While they see a game about Mozart, they say, yeah, it has nothing to do with Mozart, it's just a cover. Well, I don't understand it.
Yes, if you think about it, like how many people know more about Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart? I don't even think most people could know his full name, right? But yet they'll buy that game over a game about American football or basketball, like some of the most popular sports
because they are
in the
not
world.
into the sports.
Oh, I'm not into that. But Mozart, oh, I got to hear about his Requiem.
So yeah, I don't have an answer. It is very, very strange thing.
It is. So yeah, what is the psychology there? Maybe one of our listeners can answer that one and put that out in our guild and have a conversation about it. I like it. Oh, maybe that should be your question for next week, or my question. Greg Senko, who's at Leprechaun. Oh, I like that one. Greg, I know Greg. Greg posts in my guild in the Facebook page for the Podfather of Gaming. Well done on the achievement of over 200 episodes. My question for the contest. Oh, my question for the contest, right? This is way back in the day. Is what is the most stressful project you guys have ever worked on and why? Well, there are two questions. Don't yellow card me. So what? Oh, and why? Okay, what's the most stressful project you've ever worked on, and why was it the most stressful project?
For me, the most stressful project I was working on would be Portal Games. It's a company I founded 20 years ago, and it is very stressful.
Oh, just the creation of no, that doesn't. What project,
guys? News from today, like just before we started recording the podcast. So what is happening? To show you that every day, every week, there is always constant stress. So what's happening? So we have Essen. We all know that there is Essen in 3 weeks. We should have reviews of our games to build the hype. Yes, we are on the same page. This is obvious.
Yep.
I need to have reviews. So I'm asking my team, did we send reviews? No, we haven't. I ask why we haven't sent review copies. Because they are not available. I'm digging what's happening. So what happened? Our container with the new games was stuck for the 1 week at the customs. Normal thing, we get used to that. So whatever, 1 week here and there. After 1 week of this delay, it reached QML, our warehousing.
Yep.
It is stuck there. All the product on the pallet is not yet touched by QML because they are now fulfilling some big Kickstarters and they have no time for that. We have 2 weeks sitting my product at the docks of QML and no review copies sent. So I'm in the situation that I'm preparing for the biggest show of the year. I'm having my games produced in time. I have delivered samples to America to send them to reviewers, and I lost 3 weeks of this super precious time just before the show for some stupid things with the warehousing. And things like that happen every freaking week. And that's why every week we answer, don't start the board game company, because it's insane. And and we are here sitting in Poland, super nervous. The show is so close. Why we don't have reviews? Because something is happening in the warehousing. So we managed to design the game. We created to manufacture the game. We managed to deliver it from China to America. And then it was stuck for 3 weeks at the warehousing level, and we have no reviews of the game. So what's most stressful? Every week at Portal Games
running the company. I will try to hone in a little bit. And the funny thing is, as you were talking, I'm like, you're right. And that's why I retired. I mean, it's on some level, got to a certain age, and I'm like, this is a good time. I can retire.
This bullshit.
I can't use those words. I can retire. I might as well retire. Let the younger generation go, and I'll just have fun gaming instead of all of the stress. And it is a lot when you run a company. I guess I'm going to say, and I've talked about this game many times, it's Space Cadets Away Missions. We actually put that, it was one of the early games on Kickstarter even, and we did the one game, and it was so difficult. It came out beautifully, 102 miniatures in the box. It was, excuse me, it was amazing. Now I lost my voice. Ignacy, what happened? It was an amazing it was an amazing product, but there was so many details. We, with all these stretch goals, and we created a book about it. It was so much going on. It was, but it was so much fun in the end, and it came out great. But it's so much stress. And Ignacy's right. Every day, what's the next issue we have to deal with? And it's a big to do. We hope you don't have to do that. One more question. Tony Simpkins, who's at OShift. Stephen, I recently started thinking about retirement. I have done IT work, data analysis work, data governance work, and project manager work. I worry I would be too bored after retirement and would be interested in working part-time or volunteering to stay more involved in the board game hobby. Any suggestions? Tony, take it from me. Retire. You will know what to do once you're retired. Let's get over to playtesting. All right, before we actually start that, Tony, just want to let you know from that question, there are ways of doing playtesting for getting paid for and things like that. I don't want to just blow off your question. So there are little ways of staying.
On a serious note, because we mentioned this many times, in general, in our industry, there is a lot of creative people, amazing people who are gamers who love what we are doing, passionate. But he mentioned he's data analyst. Industry needs people who have this background of being just serious, managing the numbers, understanding the numbers. So I guess if you will reach your favorite publisher, show what you can do, what was your experience, and that you want to do some part-time job or contractor job, many publishers need people with the experience of understanding the big numbers. That I would say.
Absolutely. So in our playtesting for this week, since Ignacy last week, technically it was 2 episodes ago, he asked a dreadful question. The Podfather has to ask a pleasant question, Slavic versus an American thing. And my question is, what excites you the most about the future of the hobby game industry? Could be a new mechanic, new technology integration, a specific company, the growth of the industry, the growth of the number of gamers, whatever. What excites you the most? So Ignacy, what kind of stuff did you find here that was exciting people the most?
Yeah, there was a lot of positivity, of course, in the thread. I found one that was exactly, I was almost tagged in this answer, so let me read it because it's amazing. Stefan Gestwicki said, my son is going into kindergarten and was so excited when I told him he was going to learn how to read. His first response was, and then I can play all your games. And that's what I'm excited about. Is it industry? No, but it makes me so happy that I don't care. And Stefan attached the pictures to the thread, and you can see tattoo on the hand that says Rodzina, which in Polish means family, which is super cool. And I fully understand what he says. I understand fully what he meant. And when I came back from America, I took a couple of days off and I was staying at home. And my daughter was confused that I'm not at the work, and she was having vacation, so she was at home as well. And I said, maybe you want to play a board game? And she said, yes, let's play a board game tomorrow together. And we play board game together. It was a blast, and having a chance to play with your family, with your close ones that you love them, and enjoying the time together, it's amazing. So I'm happy for Stefan, and I'm happy for his son that they will be playing games together at some point. Is a blessing. So
very
great
cool
answer, and it has nothing to do with the industry, but it is definitely having with something that what you are looking for. I myself was looking for many years till my son was old enough to play with me all the war games and military games, and I got my collection, and it's a blast indeed.
Very good. So for me, I'm going to pick a couple here. Walter Supkin, he said, ever since Stephen forced me into painting miniatures when he released TM Big Box, You weren't supposed to paint those, man. Those came like that. That was perfect. But a lot of people did paint them, looked even better. I've been more keen to buy games with minis in them. I'm excited by the consistent improvements to minis in games. I'm especially excited for my copy of the new Robinson Crusoe game with minis. I know all the grognards, I'm excited about it. All the grognards roll their eyes at minis in games and say cubes are better, but I guess I'm happier with good quality minis. I'm also happy with that there is less of a divide between gameplay and table presence. A lot more games with good gameplay also have good minis now. Very good point. My good friend Marion, she says, this question is harder for me than the other question. I think it's impossible to answer. I think we'll all know the answer when we see the thing, because surely it's some new innovation, the next big thing that we all don't know about yet. I guess maybe I have to call it something. I'd call it, I'm excited for continued innovation and new creative advancements in the industry. Good. It's very general, but that's true, right? That's a good one. Sarah Reed, who's an avid listener, I know, she watches us actually, and she posts in the my YouTube channel. Thank you, Sarah. What excites me the most about the future is seeing an increase in representation in board games and the hobby becoming more inclusive. Yes. Dr. Tanya Pabuda did her dissertation on representation on board games, and her research is fascinating to me. I can only hope it helps spur change. And she puts this graphic up that I think is very interesting. It's a graphic and a little bit of a movie. I don't want to click on it now, but the graphic talks about if the person has experienced gendered name calling and insults about gender while participating in board gaming. Fortunately, the number has gotten better probably, but you can still say that there's still a lot of people here that do experience this, but it's getting better. So our inclusivity has gotten better, and hopefully it will continue to get better, because in the end, it is the way, right, to continue growing the hobby, to keep bringing in more people of different backgrounds. That's the way we grow as people. That's the way we grow as an industry. So it's very cool. Ignacy, you have a question for next week.
Absolutely.
What is it? Do you want me to read it? Go ahead, you read it.
And I think that I already know your answer, but we need the answer from our listeners. Do you read rule books, or you're a parasite and make your gaming friends do it for you? Are there any compensation in your group for teaching the game, like additional victory point for the person who was teaching the game? Steven, are you parasite or you are reading the rule books?
I absolutely am a parasite.
High five from Poland, because me too.
Parasite. We are both parasites. Yeah, my big gaming buddy Chad from New Jersey, he listens. Always good to I play Pathfinder with him every week online. He's the rule book guy. He's always been my rule book guy. So he reads the most complex rule books. He makes rule book outlines, he calls it the game notes, or rules notes. He posts them on BGG. He's gotten hundreds of geek gold by placing up these rule summaries. And they're really good because it highlights the things you need and keeps out the things you don't need as much. They're great stuff. Obviously, since I'm not in New Jersey with Chad, I have to do my own rule book reading now. I even try to get Paula to read rule books. She refuses. So it's me or nobody, or other gaming buddies here. But I am absolutely a parasite. I try to get other people to teach me games. I love the fact that you give anybody compensation, Ignacy, that you wrote here, like a +1.
That should be a thing, right? Like if
or
somebody
a free cookie.
Sacrifice the time to read the rule book, then he teaches the whole group. Let's appreciate him either giving him additional victory point or giving him a cookie or making a tea. So I'm asking if there are any customs like that at your gaming group. For me, I'm parasite as well, like Steven. Due to the fact that I have a ton of games, because I got these samples, I got these gifts, I'm bringing games from the Gen Con or Essen, like I have a huge collection of the games, and they're all these hot new ones. I'm bribing. I'm reaching my friends saying, hey, I have this hot game. Would you like to play it? And they say, yes. So you read the rule book. And this is a cheap play, but it works always. So this is my solution.
Agreed. Back in New Jersey, we used to, my gaming group there. I would always order, it was a Tuesday night gaming, and I would always order pizza for everybody, right, for dinner. But I would,
Not read the rule book.
I'd kindly ask everybody, right, to throw some money into the pile, right? And then
Okay.
we pay for it together. I wasn't paying; everybody was paying for the pizza. Maybe it should have been if you bring a game that you teach everybody, or just if you teach, because I know how to play, El Grande, but I haven't played it in like 10 years, right? Somebody could reteach. So if somebody took the time, read the rule book, they get the free pizza. I like that idea. I would do that in a heartbeat now. I give people.
So guys, we are providing you great value, great ideas. Vote for us.
Vote for this podcast is a value add to your gaming life and your real life, or that's real, or your mundane life, whatever. Value add with this podcast. Vote with your person. Anyway, Ignacy right now is creating a thread on Board Game Geek in our guild. So please go to the guild, find our playtesting thread with this question, and post your answer to it. In the meantime, the final scoring. Thank you all so much for listening. Help us spread the word about this podcast by telling your friends to download Board Games Insider wherever they like to get their podcasts, or watch Board Games Insider on the Podfather of Gaming YouTube channel. To ask us questions for our strategy and tactics segment, you must post them in the correct thread in our guild on Board Game Geek. To answer our question to you from our playtesting segment, also go to our guild on Board Game Geek and look for the thread with this episode's question. Board Games Insider has a Facebook page, so please like us on Facebook. Also on Facebook, please like Ignacy's page and Steven's page, /Portal Games US and /Podfather Gaming. The websites are portalgamesus.com and podfathergaming.com. Go there and sign up for the newsletters and get up-to-the-minute information. What's happening over at Podfather and Portal Games. On social media, Twitter @PortalGamesUS, @Podfather Gaming. Talk to us there. And on Instagram, it's the same. YouTube channels, Portal Games Movies, Portal Games Gameplays, and the Podfather of Gaming. Ignacy's on TikTok, Portal Games US. We hope to see you at an upcoming convention. There's still 5 major events this year. Come to see one of us. Come to see Bonnick, I'm going to be at all of them. Board Games Insider is professionally edited by Matthew Jude from This Game is Broken podcast. If you'd like him to do the same for your podcast, please contact him on Twitter or email at thisgamesbrokenpodcast@gmail.com. That great voice you hear doing our intro, outro, and in-between segments is that of Ray Greenlee. He can be contacted to do voiceover work at raygreenleevoiceover.com. Ignacy, I see you have thrown something into that special piece of news that we do right now at the end of the show.
Yeah,
what
I decided
have you put here?
We decided to close the show the way we opened. So at the very beginning of the show, we ask you if you even know who this Tom Vassell dude is. I started the thread on Board Game Geek on our guild, so you can go and answer. If you have no clue who this dude is, let us know. We are waiting for your answers, and Tom Vassell cannot wait to read them.
I'm going to throw the first answer in here, but it won't be an answer, just to make sure people understand what we're asking them, because you just made it really quick. You can answer the question. So yes, this is great. Do you know who Tom Vassell is? Or if you don't know, let us know. If you're that one person of the 20,000 listeners and watchers that we have, do you?
And if you don't know who Tom Vassell is, maybe you will give us your predictions who he can be. Like, what's your how you imagine this person? Like, who can it be?
This is great, buddy. This is great. Everybody, thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next week.
Take care.